Jake is a very rich guy. He lives in a mansion with a gardener, a cook, and a housemaid. One day he goes on a business trip and returns 2 days later. Oh no! Someone put a huge coffee stain on his exclusive white sofa. Jake gets furious and interrogates his staff. The housemaid says, "Yesterday I had a day off, so I spent it outside the mansion. As for today, I cleaned the living room first, and then I focused on the bathrooms, and the sofa was fine." The gardener says,
"Yesterday, new plants were delivered. I was very busy planting 6 palm trees in front of the house, so I didn't have the chance to chill indoors."
And the cook says, "I was trying new recipes in the kitchen and filming vlogs for my subscribers. I never hang out in your living room, sir." Who's lying? It's the gardener. There's no palms in front of Jake's mansion. Jake goes hiking alone. He's in the middle of a dark forest. Suddenly, a witch appears in front of him. She casts a spell and teleports Jake to her cabin. The witch offers him a deal.
"The only chance to escape is to drink one of my 3 potions. If you guess it right, you're free to go. If not, you'll be my prisoner forever."
Can you figure out which potion Jake should drink? Take a closer look at the emojis that imply the potion ingredients. If we write out the first letters of each ingredient, we'll get sleep, escape, and blind. So, Jake should pick the second potion. Jake drinks the potion and teleports to a desert island. There's only 1 coconut tree and 1 banana tree, but Jake can only eat from one of them. Which tree should he choose? The coconut tree. It can provide both food and water, while the banana tree only provides food. Thankfully, Jake sees a boat passing by. It's filled with people. Jake rubs his eyes and takes a look again. The boat is still there, but Jake doesn't see a single person on it. Why? Because all the people are married. The boat takes Jake to the nearest town. There are 4 people standing on the pier. One of them is a cop working undercover. Can you guess who? It's this guy in a sports suit. There are cuffs sticking out of his pocket. Jake is walking down a black street. He's wearing all black. Black shoes, socks, trousers, coat, gloves, and balaclava. All the street lamps are off. A black car is coming towards Jake, and its headlights are turned off. How did the driver see Jake? It's daytime. Jake is starving, so he decides to go check out the local bakery and purchase some snacks. The price for 1 cherry donut is 50 cents, and 1 apple donut costs $2. They also have lemon donuts. The price is $1.50 per item. Can you calculate the price for 1 blueberry donut? To solve this mystery, we should remember the color sequence in the rainbow. The price increases by 50 cents from red to purple. So the price for 1 purple donut is $3.50. Jake's mother wants him to get married as soon as possible. That's why she arranges a blind date for him. The lady's name is Karen. Today, they're meeting for lunch. This is the first time Jake and Karen are going to meet in person, and they haven't seen any pictures of each other. Karen texts Jake, "I'll wear gold hoop earrings." Jake arrives at the restaurant. There are 3 ladies. All of them are wearing gold hoops. Can you help Jake find his Karen? let's take a look at the second table. There are 2 dinner servings and cutlery for 2 people. This lady is already with someone. The third lady has already drunk half of her milkshake, and she's busy working on her laptop. She's not here for a date, so Karen is the first lady. The next morning, Jake arrives at his office. There's a huge gift box on his desk. The sender is unknown. Only 3 people are in the office today: Mia, Prudence, and Paul. Jake questions them. Mia says, "I was preparing and printing some documents for you. We have a great business deal to sign." Paul says, "My alarm didn't work today. I overslept and just arrived. I don't know who brought the gift." And Prudence says, "I don't know who did it. I was trying to fix the printer, but it won't work. Someone broke it yesterday." Who's lying? Mia printed the documents for Jake this morning, and she's holding them in her hands. Therefore, Prudence is lying. Jake takes 2 pictures of his office room. Take your time and try to spot 10 differences between them. Ready to see the answer? Here they are. He's in the middle of a creepy abandoned village in the woods. It starts raining heavily. Jake finds an old cabin and hides inside it. Jake wanders around for a while and finds 3 doors leading outside. But each path hides some dangers. There's a huge fire behind the first door. There are wild animals waiting behind the second door. And the third passage is filled with toxic gas. Humans can't survive after breathing it in. Can you help Jake choose the right door? The first one. It's been raining heavily in the woods, and the door's leading outside the house, so the fire was gone a long time ago. Jake checks the maps. Karen's place is nearby, so he decides to walk. On the way, he finds 3 bushes with different herbs. Yay! I can collect some of them to put in tea! But only one of these herbs is actually safe. Can you guess which one? The first herb caused a rash on Jake's hand, and the third one looks pretty stinky. So he should take the second one. Finally, Jake arrives at Karen's house. She shows him around. Can you spot 3 emojis hidden in her living room? Here they are. Then, Jake goes to the bathroom to wash his hands. Can you find 3 hidden emojis here? Hello! And finally, Jake lands in the kitchen. There are 3 emojis here. Can you see them? There you go. Karen is cooking dinner. She asks Jake to go to the storage room to get one last ingredient. But instead of saying directly, she gives him this weird shopping list. Can you help Jake figure out the ingredient? The number implies the letter we should pick out of each word. The encrypted word is pepper. And now let's take a look at the color of the note. It's written with a red marker. Therefore, Jake needs to get a red pepper. Karen picks some flowers in her garden and puts them in a vase on her table. Can you find the correct shadow? The third one. What about this necklace? Can you spot the correct shadow? The first one is the perfect match. Let's see if you can find a shadow that belongs to this book. The fourth option is correct. Jake turns on the TV news. Airport security guards got an urgent report. One of the passengers came back to the country with a stolen ancient treasure from Paris. The guards initiated a check. The mysterious passenger blended into the crowd, but they managed to find 4 suspects. Jake spots the thief right away. What about you? All we know about the thief is that he arrived from Paris. Therefore, the stickers on the suitcase can be helpful. Several guys have stickers with Paris, but take a look at this guy's suitcase. The Parisian sticker is on top of the others, so he's the thief. Daniel and Cherry have been talking on the phone for a while. Today, they decided to go for a coffee. This is the first time they're going to meet in person. And they haven't seen any pictures of each other. Cherry texts Daniel, "I will wear a pair of pink hair clips." When Daniel arrives at the coffee shop, he sees 3 ladies, and surprisingly, all of them are wearing pink hair clips. Can you help Daniel find his date? Take a look at the first table carefully. There are 2 coffee mugs. This means that this lady is already with someone. The lady sitting at the second table is already enjoying her coffee and a book. Clearly, she's not here for a date. And the third lady is wearing a beautiful dress and her table is empty. Therefore, she's Cherry. Cherry's ex-boyfriend, Drake, is a powerful magician. He doesn't want to let her go, so he kidnaps Cherry and locks her on top of a high tower, with only 1 window and no doors at all. Also, Drake sets a magic fire around the tower for extra protection and leaves. Cherry realizes that she has little time to escape. She looks around and sees 3 magic potions. The bottles are labeled. One would give her incredible physical strength. The other one would turn Cherry into a vampire. And the third one would let her summon any animal. Which potion should she use? Even if Cherry destroys the tower, she can do nothing with the magic fire. And no animal can help her escape. But if she becomes a vampire, she'll be able to turn into a bat and fly away. Cherry escapes and finds herself in an enchanted forest. Can you find 4 magical creatures here? Take a look at this cave. There's a troll hiding inside. Also, there are 2 pixies sitting on the flowers. And this tree is a wood goblin. Cherry goes ahead and finds a road sign. There are 3 routes leading to the nearest village. An immortal fire-breathing dragon is guarding the first path. The second route lies through the lands of a witch. She hates men and turns every guy who dares to enter her land into a stone statue. And the third path is a habitat for leopards. Can you help Cherry choose the best route? The second option sounds good. Cherry is a woman, so the witch has no reason to turn her into a statue, because she only hates men. Cherry asks the witch to help her find the village. The witch offers a deal.
If you crack my pattern riddle, I'll tell you. But if not, you'll be my servant forever.
Cherry had nothing to do but agree.
You can have pepper, but not salt. You can have beef, but not chicken. Carrots, broccoli, and cabbage. But no potato in any form. Oh, and you have to eat with a spoon.
Can you help Cherry crack the pattern? she's only allowed items containing 2 of the same letters in a row. The witch helps Cherry find a road. 3 drivers stop and offer a ride to the village. Can you help Cherry choose the safest option? There's a zombie hiding in the back of the first car, and there are no passenger seats in the third car. Although the second car's windshield is cracked, it's still the best choice. Finally, Cherry finds the village. This place is magical. Many amazing creatures live here. Suddenly, a half-hippo approaches Cherry and yells,
"Please help me. One of these guys had stolen my clothes."
Can you guess who? Take a look at the dog's badge. It says hippo. So, it was the dog who stole his shirt. Cherry meets the local farmer, Timothy. He used to keep chickens in another country. Things were going well and he made good money. But then he bought a big farm in this village and moved there. Soon, Timothy got to know that floods are very frequent in this area. But he didn't get upset and decided to breed ducks instead of chickens. Why? Ducks can swim, so floods aren't so dangerous for them. Timothy invites Cherry over for dinner at home. But unfortunately, Cherry's ex-boyfriend Drake had already found them. He captures Timothy and Cherry at the farmer's house. Suddenly, the phone rings. Drake allows Timothy to take the phone, but he can't reveal the situation. Otherwise, Drake will use his magic wand to turn them into snakes. So Timothy replies,
Hey, Mom, how can I help you? I'm home and about to go to bed. If it's not an emergency, can I call you later? I'm really sleepy.
30 minutes later, the police arrive, confiscate the magic wand, and rescue the guys. How did Timothy ask for help? He held the mute button saying everything except the words, help, home, emergency, and call. The detective gives Drake a chance to get freedom. He can pass through one of these 3 doors. Jungles full of dangerous animals are hiding behind the first door. Behind the second door, there's a tank with ice water that is impossible to stand in for even a minute. And there's a giant fire-breathing dino behind the third door. Which door is more or less safe? Drake should pick the third door. Dinos don't breathe fire, and they went extinct millions of years ago. Drake returns to his castle and discovers that someone had broken all the bottles with his precious potions in his lab. Drake gets furious and interrogates his 3 goblin servants. Willie says,
I was cleaning the castle all day long. I didn't even enter your lab today.
Tilly says,
I was picking roses in the garden in the morning. Then I entered your lab to bring rose petals for your potions. Everything was fine.
And Billy says,
I was cooking dinner in the kitchen and then I went to the bathroom to take a quick shower.
Who's lying? Tilly. He didn't pick the roses. They're still in the garden. Meanwhile, Timothy drives Cherry home. They stop to buy something on the way. Can you guess what exactly by just looking at this image? Kiwi! Then Timothy takes 2 pictures of Cherry. Can you find 10 differences between them? Here they are. Someone robbed Cherry's house when she was on a picnic on the 4th of July. The detective finds 4 suspects and questions them about what they were doing that day. Bobby, the fireman, says, "I was on duty the day before. I was very tired, so I went sleeping all day long." Nick is a student. He says, "I was celebrating Independence Day with my family." Rick, the manager, says,
It was a holiday and I was playing games with my roommates. Then we watched TV all night.
and Kyle, the postman, says, "I was at the post office all day. All my colleagues saw me." The detective identifies the robber immediately. What about you? It was Kyle. He couldn't work at a post office on the 4th of July. It's a public holiday. Cherry receives her first salary and hides the cash in her closet. Cherry's 3 roommates are not at home at this time, so she just leaves the money and goes to the gym right away. After a while, Cherry returns home and discovers that her money had been stolen from the closet. She starts looking all over the room, but finds no clues. Suddenly, her 3 roommates enter the room. Cherry asks each of them, "Has anyone stolen my money?" Bella replies, "I was in college all day. I just got home from lunch and I didn't enter this room." Anna says, "I came home for lunch as well, but after Bella. I opened the closet door to look for some documents, but there was no money inside." And Megan says, "I had no idea that you were hiding cash in the closet. I just returned from work. You should talk to the security guard." Who's the thief? Bella must have concluded that if Cherry is searching this room, money should have been stolen only from here, so she doesn't sound suspicious. But Anna said that she had searched the closet and found no money. Meanwhile, Cherry didn't mention the closet in the first place. Therefore, Anna is the thief. Let's spend the next 10 minutes or so on a nice and refreshing brain workout, shall we? Ready? Go! There are some flowers growing in the field and some bees flying over them. How many flowers and bees are there if both of the following statements are true? If all the bees land on all the flowers, 1 bee for a flower, 1 bee won't get a flower. If every 2 bees decide to share a flower, 1 flower will be left without a bee. If you answered that there were 4 bees and 3 flowers, you're absolutely right. Anna majored in accounting at university. Her roommates wanted to test her intelligence. They took 3 envelopes and wrote some messages on them. Then they put the answers to Anna's exam questions in one of the envelopes. Only one envelope had a truthful message written on it. The other 2 were false. Anna wasn't allowed to open the envelopes and could only pick one. The first message read, "There are no exam answers here." The second one was, "The exam answers are here." And the third message read, "The exam answers aren't in the second envelope." Which envelope should Anna pick? The third one. It tells the truth, which means the exam answers are in the first envelope. A businessman was about to go through a security check at the airport when he realized someone had taken his luggage. The airport police had 3 suspects. Lisa said, "I wouldn't take someone's old brown bag. I have my own." Mike explained he was a light traveler and didn't have luggage. He put everything in his backpack. Rob had a broken arm and a sprained ankle. He could hardly carry anything. The police immediately knew who had done it. Can you figure it out? It was Lisa. Nobody told her the luggage was brown. One day, Detective Morris was patrolling a local park. As soon as he entered it, he saw several bags with sand. He kept walking and soon came across a picnic basket and binoculars. A few feet further, he saw some items of clothing and a large, colorful sheet. There was also an unconscious man lying on the ground. The detective immediately figured out what had happened. Can you? The man was flying in a hot air balloon. When it started to lose altitude, he tried to make the balloon lighter, but his attempt was unsuccessful. When several friends decided to play cards, they noticed that a few cards had been lost. But they found out that if they dealt the rest of the cards among 4 people, 3 cards would remain. If they dealt these cards between 3 people, 2 cards would remain. And if they distributed the cards among 5 people, again, 2 cards would remain. How many cards were left in the pack? There were 47 cards left in the pack. Let's see. If 47 is divided by 4, 3 is left out. And if 47 is divided by either 3 or 5, 2 is left out. Scott and Mary were on vacation. One day, Mary told Scott she couldn't go to the beach with him because she was feeling unwell. When Scott came back to the room to grab his phone, Mary was gone. He found her by the pool and asked, "Are you alone here?" She nodded, but Scott immediately realized she was lying. How? There were 2 drinks on her table and 2 fruit platters. And now, I've got probably one of the coolest tasks for you.
Yeah.
I'll show you different products and you'll need to figure out if they're real products or cakes. Let's start. It looks like a regular bag of Doritos. Can it be anything else? Look at that. It's a cake. Here's a pretty normal cheeseburger, I would say. But what secret is it hiding? It's cake again. Wow, I'd love to try it. Oh, a tube of toothpaste. Can it be cake too? Ah, no, just some regular toothpaste. Thought so. And some good old toilet paper, right? No, you must be kidding me. It looked so realistic. A corn cob. Yummy. It looks delicious, but can it be a cake? Oh my, it is! I'm not sure what I'd prefer now, though. A cake or some sweet corn? How about this sneaker? Is it real or edible? And again, it's a cake. How is it even possible?
Oh my god.
Now, it must be an orange, right? There's no way it can be a cake. It just looks too realistic. And indeed, it's a real fruit. An eggplant or a cake shaped like an eggplant? That's the question. Oh, I see. It's the real thing. Okay, what do we got here? A banana. A pretty realistic banana if you ask me. Can it be a cake? Apparently the answer is yes, it can. Wow. How about this cup of coffee with milk? I can't believe my eyes. It's a cake. You've got to be kidding me.
Oh my god!
And the last one, the toughest. Is it a clock or a cake? I mean, I'm almost sure it's a real clock, but you never know. It's a cake! Wow, this task has blown my mind. But back to our detective riddles. Amy won $20 million in the lottery. The night after she received the money, she stayed at the most expensive hotel and made a video. It was about her life and how she hadn't seen her sister since childhood. The next day, 3 girls showed up, claiming to be her sister. All of them looked so much alike, but which one tells the truth? It's the lady on the right. She has the same mole as Amy on her cheek, a tattoo with the letter A, and a tattoo with two girls holding hands. Mrs. Kim called the school principal to report someone had taken her student's test. She added that she had noticed a stranger wearing school clothes, gloves, and a red mask. This person also had 3 star tattoos on their fingers. The principal didn't believe her. Why? She said the person was wearing gloves, but then how did she see 3 star tattoos on the intruder's fingers? Two friends, Mark and Timothy, were walking home from the supermarket with their purchases. That was the last week before the winter holidays, so they had a lot of bags. Mark kept complaining about how heavy his bags were. Then, Timothy told him, "I don't understand what you're upset about. If you gave me one of your bags, I would have twice as many bags as you. And if I gave you one of my bags, we would have the same number." How many bags were the guys carrying? Timothy had 7 bags, while Mark was goofing off and carrying only 5 bags. The art museum owner was visiting the construction site to see the progress. At some point, he left his briefcase with important documents on the table. A worker grabbed it and ran away. The museum owner didn't see who it was, but he immediately called the police. There were 3 suspects. The architect said he had been talking on the phone trying to get electricity for the site as there was none. The manager told the police he had been teaching his staff to work as a team. The electrician explained he had been down in the basement trying to fix a broken lamp. The detectives immediately figured out who was lying. Can you? It was the electrician. There was no electricity at the construction site. Oh no! Soon after Bob became prom king, he vanished. His teachers were looking for him everywhere. They believed there were 3 people who could be behind his disappearance. Bob's rival Joe said he had been dancing all night with his girlfriend and hadn't seen Bob. Bob's classmate Dennis claimed he hadn't been feeling so well, so he spent all night in the lounge. Laura, Bob's secret admirer, said she had been counting the votes. The teachers immediately realized who knew something about Bob's disappearance. And have you figured it out? It was Laura. Bob had already become prom king. She didn't need to count the votes. Let's start with a couple of simple teasers to warm up your brain for today's challenge. The day before yesterday was Thursday. What is the day after tomorrow? If the day before yesterday was a Thursday, it means that today is Saturday. So the day after tomorrow is a Monday. Mrs. Jones has 6 dogs. Their names are Dodie, Rexy, Mel, Fang, Soso, and Lana. She just got another puppy. What do you think she will name it? Lexa, Bia, or Tina? Tina. She seems to follow the scale do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. And then comes T. Detective Callum was walking past a little house in the suburbs and heard a woman screaming, "No, Ben, don't!" He ran inside and saw an empty bottle of rat poison and several people inside. An elderly lady, a young man, a blonde girl, a brunette girl, and a cat. He figured out that one of them had drunk the poison. Without asking any questions, he picked up the man and drove him to the hospital. How did the detective know who drank the poison? He heard the name. It was Ben, and there was just one man in the house. Emma is a secret agent, and she's after a guy who's been possibly smuggling contraband from abroad. Tonight, she managed to find his secret office and broke into it. There were 4 safes. She used her equipment to open 3 of them, but they were empty. When she tried to get the code for the last safe, her device stopped working, so Emma could only rely on herself. If the codes for the 3 safes were 5378, 3785, and 7853, what is the code for the 4th one? You might have noticed that every next code is formed by moving the first digit of the previous code to the last position. So the 4th code must be 8537. Emily was on vacation and she was staying in a hotel. One evening, she was getting ready to go out when she heard a knock on her door. She opened the door and there was a stranger there. "Oh, sorry, I must have made a mistake. I live nearby. Sorry for disturbing you." The guy left, but Emily didn't believe that it was a mistake, so she reported him. Why was she so suspicious? The guy knocked on the door. If he had really thought it was his room, he'd have tried to open it with his key. Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. Soon, she found a witch's house, walked in, petted a cat, and asked the witch to take her home, but the witch had a different proposal.
Give me a statement. If the statement is true, you'll stay here forever. If the statement is false, you'll stay here for 100 years. Otherwise, I'll take you home.
What did Esme say? Esme said, "I'll stay here for 100 years. Now, if it's true, she should stay forever instead, but then the statement will be false. If the statement is false, she will have to stay for 100 years, so it becomes true. The witch is too confused, so this time, Esme's going home. Detective Callum was following a robber around the city. Suddenly, the robber entered a hospital and disappeared. When the detective entered the building, there were 3 workers. One of them must be the criminal dressed up to pretend to be a doctor. Can you tell who it is? It's the guy on the left. All other doctors wear hospital shoes, and he's the only one wearing regular sneakers. On a summer day, the police warned that a robber had escaped from Spain and taken a plane to Los Angeles. They got the description of the robber. 6 feet tall, skinny, dark hair, no beard. Detective Callum arrived at the airport to arrest the guy. Take a look. Which guy is the one they need? It may seem that there's no one who fits the description, but look, this blonde guy here. Some dark hair is peeking from under his blonde wig. It must be the criminal in disguise. Detective Callum went on a vacation to a distant island somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. The problem is that he doesn't speak or understand a word in the local language. But right now, he needs to figure out which restroom to use. Since one is for men and the other is for women, he has found one local lady who doesn't speak English but can understand it. How can Detective Callum figure out which is the men's restroom? It's possible to do this by asking just 2 questions. At first, he should point at himself and ask, "Am I a man?" And remember the response. Whatever the local woman replies, it means a yes. Then, Detective Callum can ask the second question. Is this a men's restroom? Pointing at one of them. If the response is the same word as before, it's a yes. If it's different, then it's a no. By the way, what is it that can answer back in any language? It's an echo. Alu is a fairy who needs to fly to a village on the other side of the forest for some fairy business. The problem is that the trip there takes 6 days, but one fairy can only carry 4 packs of pixie dust, and one is only enough for 1 day. There's no chance of getting more pixie dust midway. It's all stored in the villages. So, Alu should take some helpers on the trip with her. How many helpers does she need? And what should be her strategy to reach the other village? Alu will need 2 helpers. Let's call them B and C. Each of them will have a 4-day supply of pixie dust. So the 3 of them will have 12 packs. During the first day, they will all be using the pixie dust B is carrying, so they'll use 3 out of 4 packs. At the end of the day, B will fly back to the village, and Alu and C will keep going. The remaining pack of pixie dust will be enough for B to make it back home safely. On the second day, Alu and C will be using the pixie dust C is carrying, so they'll use 2 by the end of the day. Then, C will go home. The road back home will take her 2 days, and the 2 packs will be enough for her to return. Alu will continue her journey alone. It'll be just 4 more days. But she'll still have her 4 packs of pixie dust to make it there. Elle is a college student. She goes there by train, but she always rides her bike to the train station. Her house is between 2 stations. 1 mile from the first station and 2 miles from the second station. Every morning, she rides her bike to the first station, but every afternoon when she returns from college, she gets off at the second station. Why? Elle lives on a hill. The first station is at the lowest point. The second one is at the highest point, and her house is in the middle. She takes advantage of this location to make sure she always goes down the hill to get wherever she needs. In a summer camp, everyone had to tell a fun fact about themselves, and other people had to guess if it was true or false. Camilla said, "My birthday is on February 29th. So I have 4 times fewer birthdays than everyone else. This year, I celebrated my birthday. I turned 17. Why didn't people believe her? February 29th only happens once every 4 years. Camilla couldn't celebrate her 17th birthday on her actual birthday because this number can't be divided by 4. So either she wasn't born that day or she's not 17.